Hi, my name is
You can hear
Gavin NewScum, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm the useless piece of shit responsible for your home burning down. So just keep giving me your insanely high taxes and keep voting Democrat so I can keep burning this motherfucking place to the ground. Thank you. Hi, my name is Gavin NewScum.
Listen to this.
And I just wanted to let you know that I'm the useless piece of shit responsible for your home burning down. So just keep giving me your insanely high taxes and keep voting Democrat so I can keep burning this motherfucking place to the ground.
Burn it to the ground. It's almost, we're going to get into all of this because there's been a number of stories that are confirmed, unconfirmed rumors. It's such an outrageous situation. First of all, it is quite ironic that Gavin NewScum wanted to pass that piece of legislation that would have prohibited AI-generated videos, for the purposes of election interference or whatever. That was a fake video. I'll play you a real video, which you may not be able to even identify as not being AI-generated nonsense because of the sheer insanity, preposterousness of it. Listen to this. This is Gavin Newsom literally standing in front of the consequences of his failed policy and failed leadership. It's burning behind him. And what does this MFer do? He says this.
People are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids.
It's on you, Gavin.
Schools.
That's on you.
Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down.
On you.
This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message to the folks here, to this community.
I mean, we have their backs. We're going to be back, and this is going to be a long recovery process. But look, we have residents moving back into Paradise, California. I've seen remarkable recovery efforts. I've seen remarkable sense of community, purpose, resilience. So, I'm not just playing the politician role of optimism. I really am long-term optimistic. But the devastation to hear people wailing and crying, concerned about their pet, their family, they're just bewildered about what they're experiencing. And again, not just experience. I was not talking past tense. This is happening in real time. 0% containment.
0%
people
containment.
Are literally.
What's an amazing thing is they never want to politicize it when they're responsible for it. They wanted to politicize the Katrina response, blame it on racism. They want to politicize every single natural disaster. The hurricane in Florida, the result of climate change, Trump and DeSantis failed policies. They want to politicize every single catastrophe, every single disaster, every single tragedy, except for the ones when they know damn well, not just in their heart of hearts, but on paper, black and white, that they are responsible for it. It's so absurd that I almost wanted to make sure it wasn't AI generated. But no, this was actually posted by Gavin NewScum, standing in front of the burning rubble of his failed leadership, blaming Trump for trying to politicize it.
Really fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids have lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down.
We don't want to politicize it, so let me use my own failure to take a cheap shot at Donald Trump.
This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know.
How about you shut your mouth and think? You got a lot of thoughts. So, look, I've got a lot of family in California. Sister, brother, nephews, aunt, cousins, lots. So I've got a lot of family down there and a lot of family friends. And it's as bad as everybody is thinking it is based on the end of times video footage that we're seeing on the internet. Bernie Sanders. I mean, look, it's going to be a meandering show. We're going to go through all of the not bad takes. They don't want to politicize it, except to politicize it to blame Donald Trump. And the takes are, I created the term political retardant. The takes are politically retarded of the highest order. Bernie Sanders was one of the latest ones. It's just. Well, let's go with. Well, no, I think we've given Andrew Lichtman enough of a roasting, but let's why stop there? Alan Lichtman takes to Twitter. January 9th, this is today, yeah. Donald Trump pledges he would bring America together in his second term. Instead, when faced with his first challenge as president-elect, his first challenge as... Are you an idiot, Lichtman? Like, you're proving that your idiotic failed prediction was not the failure of anything other than the fact that your brain is turned into mush. His first challenge as president-elect. The Los Angeles fires. He politicized the tragedy with false claims about Gavin Newsom failing to sign a water restoration declaration. He even resorted to middle school insults, calling Newsom New-Scum. First, we're going to get into all of this. That was what's his face? Alan Lichtman. Alan, I can lick my own whatever, Lichtman. Bernie Sanders, never missing a heartbeat to blame something on climate crisis. Bernie Sanders blames on climate change. So here's where it is now. You see that the fires are burning out of control. 0% contained, at least as of yesterday. Maybe the winds have died down. You hear a number of statements, causes, whatever. Okay, people are saying it's arson, or at least the result of arson. People spreading the rumors, or at least making assertions of fact that would lead people to think very conspiratorial thoughts that, recently insurance companies were canceling insurance policies. And I just got a text from someone who's down there, went to the perimeter, safely away, says it's absolutely wild. You hear a ton of statements. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of pings here. So we're keeping track of a live situation, and it's impossible to know what to believe anymore. And where do you start? I mean, you start with Trump is needling Gavin Newsom and saying this is the result of failed policy because they are prioritizing the Sacramento Delta. What was it? The Sacramento Delta, it's a fish, by diverting fresh water into the ocean so that the salinity levels of the Delta are adequate for the spawning of the Sacramento Delta herring. So I'll get the name of the fish when I pull up the article. And they say, oh, no, that's not true at all. That didn't have any impact on it. Then you actually have to go and say, like, oh, it didn't have a direct impact on it, but it had an indirect impact on it. Then you get your claims of DEI policy within the Los Angeles Fire Department. You have your first lesbian police chief, as if anybody gives a sweet bugger all. And then the lesbian police chief was in there to fight sexism and racism within the LAPD. And lo and behold, you get the other one there, the mayor defunding the allegedly the fire department, allegedly California firefighters donating firefighting gear to Ukraine. And you hear all these things. You're like, what the hell's true and what the hell's not true? And it turns out, by the way, it's all freaking true. And we're going to go one by one. It's not just that it's all true. It's all true. And it takes the culmination of failed policy into catastrophe for people to see just how bad the failed policy is and has been for an extended period of time. And then you get the people don't want to politicize it, but others are rejoicing in the loss of property when it's their political adversaries. Here's the Bernie Sanders. Listen to this. Bernie Sanders posts this picture. Can you appreciate this? This is end of times level stuff. At least if you believe in that, and I say that without judgment, this is what it would look like. If you don't believe in that, this is what it looks like. And what does Hillary Clinton ass-kissing coward, I don't know what else to call him, Bernie Sanders have to say about it?
80,000 people told to evacuate. Blazes 0 contained. 8 months since the area has seen rain. The scale of the damage and loss is unimaginable. I am once again asking you, climate change is real, not a hoax. Donald Trump must treat this like the existential...
Can you imagine the balls it takes for this scumbag coward to now take an existing crisis that has been years in the making under existing leadership, and then trying to somehow find a way to pin it on what Donald Trump has to do when he gets into office to combat a problem, which isn't climate crisis, by the way, but even if it is, if you enact local policy that would be exacerbated by whatever climate crisis you think exists, they're trying to pin the blame on Trump, who hasn't been in office for 4 years and won't be in office for another 2 weeks. Pin this on him. The culmination of years of neglect, corruption, and negligence. Now, let's just operate. We'll give Bernie the benefit of the doubt.
Climate crisis is not a...
Okay, if it's not a hoax, what would you do then? Would you not tend to the forest management and leave dry tinder to burn if you actually believe that climate crisis is real? I mean, you wouldn't do it even if you didn't think climate crisis was real. Even if you thought climate change was a hoax, you still would have proper forest management, because one thing that's clear, if you leave dry brush in dry areas, fires start. If you leave dry brush in areas when fires start, they are exponentially worse than if you adequately clear it or do controlled burns. Don't politicize the LA fires. Also, the LA fires are Trump's fault. What are you saying again? Hold on. 8 months they haven't seen rain. Oh, okay. So 8 months, they've known there's a problem, but it's been years. And what do they do instead? When you hear stories of fire hydrants running dry, literally, the police force, or not the police force, the fire force defunded, literally, diverting fresh water. Let's go one by one. Andrew Lichtman, or Alan Lichtman, says that the restoration, the water restoration thing, Gavin Newsom didn't sign. And you go fact check that, by the way. And the way they fact check it, because they are wordsmiths of the devil, is to say there was no such thing as a water management declaration. There's no such thing as that. And therefore it's a lie. Oh, except for the fact that when he's talking about water management declaration, what they're talking about is properly managing the existing freshwater reserves that they have. Until they start nuking the internet, I should probably start, what's the word I'm looking for? Archiving this. Just go look into these things, people, because I don't know, a journalist. Oh, get out of here! I'm not doing that. Let me go archive. The information is out there. It's actually out there, and it's actually at your fingertips. Right? So I like to mess with these things and just pick things that are not bicycles. Look, it's an amazing. It's the Smelt. It's the Smelt. It's the Smelt. The Sacramento Delta Smelt. I mean, listen to this. Where's the title? Delta Smelt hatched at UC Davis Labs swim in a holding tank in an aquarium in the Pacific in Long Beach, 2019. This is from October 2nd, 2024. State and federal officials have decided to curtail additional water flows intended to support endangered fish. This is October of this year, meaning that they had been doing it up until now. They decided to curtail additional water flows intended to support endangered fish in the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta this fall, a controversial step that is being praised by major California water districts, but condemned by environmental groups as a significant weakening of protections for the imperiled fish. The debate centers on a measure that calls for prioritizing additional flows for endangered Delta Smelt, a species that has suffered major declines and is thought to be nearing extinction in the wild. The step of releasing a pulse of water through the delta in September and October is typically triggered when the state experiences relatively wet conditions, as it has during the last 2 years. A coalition of environmental fishing groups says the flow, called the Fall X2 water releases, they're vital for the smelt. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, Lordy. Now let's get rid of this one. Let's go to the other article here. Questions about the water. Is this about here? Here we go. This is the one. Look at this. February 12, 2023. Sorry, let's bring this up here. This comes from resources.ca.gov. Questions and answers about water diversions and the Delta Smelt protections. What's the problem? Over the course of the decade, the population of the fish has decreased, yada, yada, yada. How are decisions regarding pumping cuts made? Operations of the wet project pumps are regulated to comply with the Endangered Species Law through biological opinions issued by the federal regulatory agencies. In 2007, the federal court found that existing biological opinions written to protect the Delta Smelt and several runs of anadromous fish were inadequate. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. What's the problem now? In early December, the combination of a high pulse flow through delta channels and high pumping rates of the water project pumps pulled many Delta Smelt into the vicinity of the water pumps. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second. This is, we're going to get rid of this one. This is not the best one either. Where was the article? I have an article where they're talking about the issues of rerouting fresh water into the delta for the purposes of the fish. It's been a known problem in terms of diverting water resources, fresh water, to support the smelt. It's a very laudable issue, but that is what Trump was talking about when he's talking about unlocking the fresh water that they have, that they're diverting to preserve the Sacramento Delta smelt. Get to the insurance having been canceled, by the way. So you've heard now rumors. So water mismanagement is a known issue. We heard Trump threatening, saying you're not going to get any more federal funds if you don't manage the water properly that you already have. It's a big wheel that you can turn and you can redirect it. That happened before. There was discussion about that when Trump was running. The failure to properly manage the forest has been a problem that people have been complaining about for years. The adding fire to the conspiracy theory is homeowners insurance canceling fire insurance in the specific areas where these fires are now raging. And for that, I direct your attention to Exhibit B. This is from July 3rd, 2024. Scrambling California homeowners consider going without insurance. Listen to this. This is from KCRW. Ray Barrios reading the thing is among 30,000 State Farm customers in California who have to find new fire insurance. Ray Barrios lives in one of many large single-family homes that line the squiggly, narrow streets of Brentwood. The community is manicured. Plan development number. Wildland urban interface here. Okay. The flammable hills just north of this LA neighborhood that look typically tinder, open, dry grass or trees without dense undergrowth feel far away. Not far enough, according to the home insurance industry. Barrios and many of his neighbors are among 30,000 State Farm customers in California who will begin losing their home insurance policies today. This is July 2024. Most of the affected customers live in high fire risk areas, which in Southern California includes parts of Woodland Hills, got family there, Pacific Palisades, and Bel Air and Brentwood. I understand why the insurance companies are reacting this way because we've lived through the actual fires. When he moved into his home in 2017 with his wife, 2 toddlers, yada, 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 fire risk wasn't really top of mind. Many of the state's largest and most destructive fires, Thomas, Woolsey, yada, yada, hadn't happened yet. In the first 2 years, they have a bunch of farms. State Farm is just the most recent company to shed risky homeowners. As wildfires get more common and more severe, insurance companies have started dropping policies en masse. More than a major inconvenience for the homeowners, it signals a reshaping of how and where we live in California. You go down here, it says you tried other insurance companies, all refused. He has until September to come up with another plan, and the choices are slim. These are problems that the government has known about for a long, long, long time. And you can blame climate crisis as much as you want, when in reality, if it's the result of forced management problems, potentially knowing that you have inadequate resources to combat fires, it takes a great deal of audacity to even suggest that somehow Trump's divisive rhetoric of pointing the finger where the finger deserves to be pointed is the issue here.